We are going to make a oil pastel color wheel. You're going to start with the primary colors. You're only going to use the primary colors. I'm starting with red, and notice how I'm coloring back and forth in the same direction. Also notice how I stopped about halfway down. This is because you're going to make a blending stump out of a paper towel by folding it into a little triangle and then folding it over again. You could also use a scrap piece of paper. And then I twist the end to make it kind of pointy like a pencil. Then I'm going to pull the oil pastel down towards the center of my color wheel. Um, this is what oil pastels do best. They are blending, um, they're for blending. The paper that you're using is terrible for oil pastels, but it's okay for practice. So you're not going to get as good of a result here just because of the paper, but that's okay. We're just going to do our best. Then you're going to go over to blue and you're going to do the same thing. I like to outline the words so that you can see them easily. You could color over the words if you want. It doesn't really matter as long as you know what the names of the colors are. Notice how I'm coloring in the same direction and I'm coloring all of the paper. Now I'm going to get a fresh piece of paper towel. So I'm changing my blending stump there to remove the red because I don't want the red to mix with the blue. And then I'm going to pull the blue toward the center with my clean blending stump. So take some time, make yourself a clean blending stump each time you blend. Now we're going to do the same thing with yellow. Pretty heavy pressure, covering all of the paper, and I'm going down about halfway, a little over halfway. I've got a clean blending stump once again with my paper towel, and I'm going to pull the pastel towards the center. Now we're going to make orange, guys. You make orange by mixing yellow and red. We're going to start with yellow because it's the lightest color. I'm using pretty heavy pressure because I know that the red is quite a bit stronger than the yellow. I'm going to now use little circles of red. Watch how I use these little circles. Little circles are your friends when you're blending. Lines are hard to blend. Little circles are easy to blend. So little circles with red right over that yellow. Now it doesn't look like orange yet, but watch what happens when I come in and use the yellow over it. Okay, so I'm going to use the yellow over the little red circles, and I'm going in little circles with the yellow. What's happening is the yellow oil pastel is mixing in with the red pastel, and I'm getting a lot of boogers on my yellow pastel. So I'm going to take a second and wipe that off on my paper towel that I have. You're going to notice my paper towel is covered with pastel. Ooh, and I need to tear down some paper too so I can get some more pastel. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to little circles now that I have a nice, fresh, clean yellow pastel. Little circles, blending the red and yellow together. And then look at that, I'm getting a pretty nice orange. Orange is not going to look too red or too yellow. It should look orange. That's my cat. Um, because I'm detail oriented, I wanted it to be just right. Now I'm getting a clean piece of like paper towel and blending that orange towards the center, just like we did with the red, yellow, and blue. And see, look at me. I just want that color to be just right. I wasn't happy with it, so I just kept working. All right, red, orange. It is going to be more red than orange. So notice I leave some gaps in between the yellow and the paper. And I'm going to use pretty heavy pressure with the red, but I'm still working in little circles. Notice you can see some of that yellow through the red. Then I'm going to go back over the red with the yellow. So it's this dance of back and forth. You start with your light color, then you add your dark color, and then you go back in with your light color. So I'm using the yellow to blend the red into the yellow and create this reddish orange color. So it looks more red now than it does orange. Yellow orange. I didn't clean my pastel. You're seeing me, I'm going to have to here. Yeah, right now. There we go. I had to clean it because it had like little orange boogers all over it. Um, so I start with yellow and I'm going to use less red. I just barely use any red at all. I am still using circles, and then I'm going to go on with yellow and blend the red and the yellow together using my yellow pastel. Now, I'm going to take my clean blending stump and I'm going to pull that color towards the center. There were some areas there that were going to bother me, and so, I tried to blend them out with the paper towel, and then I redrew over them. Green is blue and yellow. And again, you start with your lightest color first. So I'm starting with yellow um, because yellow and blue, between yellow and blue, yellow is definitely lighter. And I'm going to use really light pressure with the blue here, not a lot of pressure. Um, and it kind of looks green already. And then I'm going to go back in with the yellow, little circles, blending the blue and yellow together. And I'm going to keep going until I get a medium green. I don't want this color to be too yellow or too blue. It should be green. And then I blend towards the center. Yellow green is going to look more yellow than it will green or blue. So I start with quite a bit of yellow, heavy pressure, fill in most of the paper, and just the tiniest bit of blue. I use really light pressure, light little circles. Then I'm going to go back in with the yellow pastel and blend that blue into the yellow to create my lovely yellow green. And again, I'm not using heavy pressure. After you put that first application of oil pastel down, you don't need to use heavy pressure. Now, blue-green. I'm putting down quite a bit of yellow here. I probably didn't need that much yellow. I think I was kind of absent-minded. And then I'm going to go in with blue over it. And now I have to use quite a bit of blue because this color is going to be more blue than it is yellow or green. And then I go back in with the yellow to blend in the blue. And then, oh, I'm so sorry. You just have to stare at my hand for a second. I could have swore I paid attention to this camera the entire time. And then I blend the blue-green towards the center. So that was the only part you missed. Now, blue and red make violet. So let's go. Blue and red. I made sure to clean off my pastels. I don't want any orange boogers in with my red for my violet. And I start with red first. Between red and blue, this blue, they're pretty similar. The red might be a little bit lighter, but not much. And then you can see, ooh, it's already starting to look purple. This one's kind of tricky. I don't want it to be too blue and I don't want it to be too red. On this paper, it looks kind of muddy. Actually, it looks kind of blackish from here, but look at that. When I blend it out, it really looks purple. Um, and then you can see how waxy it is. Yeah, there we go. And I drew back over those little bald spots that I made. This time I'm going to start with blue. And then I want this color to be more blue than red or violet because it's blue-violet. And notice I'm making little light circles. And then I'm going to go back in with the blue and maybe a little bit more red. But I want to make sure that it stays more blue than red or violet. And now red-violet. It's the last one, guys. I start with red. I do medium pressure, little circles, so they're easier to blend, and then little circles of blue. I'm using pretty light pressure with the blue over the violet, and then I go, or the blue over the red, I mean, and then I go back in with red to blend that blue in, and then clean paper towel to blend towards the center. And then voila, you have a color wheel.